Sony have finally revealed more details and specs for its PlayStation VR successor, now officially confirmed as PlayStation VR2.
What a shock.
So the news coincides with the CES 2022 a few weeks ago. Sony previously revealed this unit will be a single-core device last Feb, and then shown off the new PSVR2 controllers a month later in March. The headset itself is yet to be revealed, but will feature new sensory features and eye tracking. So I might just like zip through some of the specs that now we've had it fully confirmed, and then maybe you'll call out some of the games that are potentially or are coming to the system, or VR2, whatever you want to call it. So it is a OLED display. Each display will have a resolution of 2000 by 2040 per eye. Refresh rate is 90 hertz to 120 hertz. Adjustable lens separation, which is a big deal. 110 degrees of field of view. It does have the 6-axis motion sensing system, so gyroscope and the accelerometer, IR proximity sensor, the 4 cameras for the headset and control tracking. So that's the inside-out tracking that the Oculus Quest 2 does, which makes you feel like you can really, see the controller in your hands. It's like a very big thing for immersion. IR camera tracking, which is going to track the eyes, and each eye, which is new, that's different to the Quest. They've been playing around with that for like about a decade, Sony, eye tracking, and finally integrating it into product. It's going to have vibration on the headset itself. Communication is going to be through the PS5 via USB Type-C, built-in microphone and stereo headphone jack. It's still unconfirmed if you're going to be able to use it on PC. That's going to be a massive thing for me. Like, it might be the difference between me getting it or not getting it personally. And the other one is that it seems to have a battery in it, which may make sense, I guess, if there's the vibration function. I'm a bit surprised when I saw that there's lithium batteries. Maybe it's actually, when I think about it, it's for the hand controllers, which are going to be called, what were they going to be called? The Sense controllers, I think they've called them.
I can't remember. Did they name them
They
back
named them,
last year?
Announced, no, they named them just recently. Like, as part of the
okay, I
news.
didn't see that one.
Yeah. And then did you want to talk about the games game that sort of, or experience?
I just want to just ask a couple of questions about the specs, first of all. So is this the first headset that's had, or at least major headset that's had vibration in it?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware. I'm not like the VR expert that Mike is, obviously. But yeah, no, it's the only one that I'm aware of that has that vibration in it. And yeah, it's going to be Sense controllers. And the controllers will have vibration in it as well, I believe.
I'm just trying to think the headset. How is that not going to give you a headache? Like, how are they going to make that so where it's... I know, obviously, it will be something you turn off.
Oh, they'll make it extremely subtle, I imagine.
I'm just like, what... I'm just trying to think, like, if you're in VR and you put a hat on, the sensation of putting a hat on or something makes sense. But I'm like, what if you get shot in the head in the game? Are they going to do something? Like, what are they going to use it for on your head?
Maybe, but like, I think it just has to be extremely subtle, and then it will like bring a lot more immersion.
But I'm just trying to think, like, what inputs in the game world is going to, like, translate to you getting a vibration on your head?
I don't know. Look, I think it's, like, a very interesting thing. Like, the specs are really good. Like, it's funny the way it's competing against, really, the Quest 2 now. Like, Oculus's Quest 2, or Meta, I guess it's going to be called soon. The Meta Quest 2 from Facebook. But that is a full contained, self-contained unit. Like, as I've said before, my wife's dad bought one, right? Like, random people are buying these units, and they're just self-contained. Like, you don't need to plug it into a PC. It's got its own marketplace, and it's all wireless. So, and it's selling for a very competitive price. I just don't know, like, I can't see this being successful, honestly. I'm excited for it personally, but I can't see it being successful.
Well, you know what Sony need to do? They need to open up the checkbook, or whatever you do these days, the equivalent in this day and age, and they need to get Resident Evil Village VR on it, because that would move the units. Just like Resident Evil 7 was huge on VR, and that's a lot of people, they, like Sony, basically, they did that. They put out the money. They put out the checkbook to get that on
it was like
PlayStation.
$5 million or something, I think.
To me, it'd be crazy not to try to do the same thing if they haven't already. for Capcom for that, because that's the one that will get people in.
I think if they, I don't disagree. I just think there's another game that you would do, and I think if they bundled in Half-Life Alyx as a Half-Life Alyx, here's PlayStation VR2 all in one, and people just go, okay, cool. All I need is the PlayStation 5, by the way, which is really hard to get, and then get the VR unit. That game didn't have the impact that it really should have. That game is so it wouldn't be as crazy to say for me, but I'm thinking off the top of the dome is it's probably one of the more important games of the last 5 years, Half-Life Alyx, but it just didn't land. I'm still quite shocked, given the IP as well. This is the first new Half-Life entry we've had for such a long time, and yeah, it just didn't move the needle at all. Let's be real. No one talks about Half-Life Alyx. I never see anything on Half-Life Alyx.
Well,
the barrier awesome.
The barrier to entry for that kind of VR is even way higher than PlayStation VR. So
yeah,
100%. I agree that would be huge. I'm
and
just kind of going off known.
It'd be able to run it.
I'm just going off kind of known commodities of the fact that 7 worked so well for them. So and the fact that they could obviously, I don't know if it would be a free update or paid, whatever. But obviously, there's a big amount of people out there who already own that. So it's you tap into that audience.
It'd be paid. It was paid for 7. So
yeah. So. Yeah. But so they did. Yeah, they announced the first title, official known title or game, I should say, for PSVR2, built from the ground up, which is Horizon Call of the Mount, which we saw a little bit in the clip before. Don't know much beyond. I can't remember the guy from Guerrilla Games talking about it as the intro in the clip. But it's been developed by both Guerrilla Games and Firesprite, who have been in the news recently as well, who apparently taking over the Twisted Metal remake as well. And I actually forgotten.
I'm not sure if I believe that, but yeah, I've seen that's been a rumor going around.
Yeah, I mean, it's been reported by a lot of places, so I would trust that one myself.
So was the Switch Pro.
Yeah, the Switch Pros. That's a weird thing. But Firesprite, this went by and I've forgotten about it. They were acquired actually in last September, so it makes Sony. Sense. Yeah, so yeah, but that's Look, one interesting thing though is Sony have been trickling out this PSVR2 information since last year. It's funny because this week everyone's like, "Oh my god, look at these controllers! Look at all these news about these controllers," and I'm like, "This is last year." I'm fine, whatever, people excited, but it's just interesting to see how them trickling out the information has. It's led to people actually not probably potentially hearing it last year, So I mean, if you're gonna announce the name and stuff, I just want to see what the headset looks like. To be honest,
yeah. Look, I think it's smart marketing. I think they had a bit last year. They did it in a bit of a lull when there wasn't as much news as around. They've done that again. It's a bit of a lull. There's not much news. It's okay, great. We can talk about something at CES. We definitely did not know about the inside out tracking. That is super important. Again, one of those features, if they didn't have it, it's a bit of a deal breaker because it's just so effective to, track your hand movement, which, really does. That's just so awesome in Half-Life Alyx. When you get to play it, eventually, which I'm sure you will, you'll find the hand movement and everything. It's almost kind of gets into that uncanny valley a little bit, but beyond it, it kind of gets out of that slope and it just feels wow, this is almost I'm tripping or something. It feels is this real life or is it not? So I'm glad that they have that. I know a lot of people are really annoyed with the cable, single cable. I don't know. I'm always a bit, I like cables. I still have cabled keyboard and mice. So I'm a bit of a freak in that way.
I like cables. So. Intergot 2022.
Yeah. But I'm looking forward to this, man. This is one of those things where it's for Christmas, if you can buy one, it's okay, this is a cool big gift. Not something I'd necessarily go crazy and go buy, but yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how it lands.
After looking at the prices for other top line headsets, I know this is we'll see how they all line up when everything comes out, but just look, I'm much more likely to buy a PSVR2 than I am any other VR headset, just because of various reasons. Plus, also the play space you need, it just makes sense to be in the living area for me.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. And the biggest thing with VR, and I know Mike always goes on about it, and I've got another good mate who is obsessed about VR. He's actually a true VR person. Like, he will use VR every day. Like, every single day he will use VR. Unlike Mike, who likes to talk about it but never actually uses it.
You're just shitting on Mike. Poor guy. Hit him when he's down.
I'm giving him motivation to get better so he gets back on the show to slam me back. But, you know, it's such a muck around, VR. It's such a freaking muck around. Like, got to install certain things on my computer. Got to make sure I use a certain port on my motherboard to make sure it works properly. Then connect this, test the speed. It's so many things to do. Whereas, like, there is this just very big simplicity. It's like, here's the big ass, you know, PS5. It's got the USB-C thing in the front. You plug it in and it works. Like, that's why people like consoles. Like, I like PC, and we'll talk about Monster Hunter Rise soon. But, you know, there is a simplicity that just wins the argument, you know? And I see people doing that more. And that's actually a big thing for the Quest 2, to be fair. Like, it's all wireless and you just play it, but the fidelity of this is way better than the Quest 2 based on the specs and the PS5 that's powering it. So, yeah, I'm super looking forward to it, man. Like, I look, it's just going to be the price. That's the thing. That's the only, you know, if it comes out and it's like $750, like, nah, sorry, man, that's too much for me. I don't know if that's too much for you, Swinny, but it's got to be like 500 and below for me.
All I know is that a lot of the other VR headsets I'm looking at are way higher than that.
Really?
So, yeah.
You're trying to do this porn VR or something. What's going on here?
I want to play Half-Life Alyx, just like you said I would like.
But you can get a Quest 2. You're like me with Meta, right?
I would not buy anything to do with Facebook.
No,
fuck that.
Dude, I won't either. I refuse to. I don't care about like
when I talk about that, I'm excluding them because of that.
Okay. Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. No. Fair enough. Like, I'm looking forward to it. Cool announcement from Sony. And that wraps up our news for the week.